I really don't know. I have to go back and have a look, but
I was feeling great.
I did not expect what they've shown.
That was tricky.
Melbourne, first race of a brand new era. New rules, new engines, new hierarchy. Everyone said the field would be level. Everyone was wrong. Because when George Russell crossed the line at Albert Park, 3/10 clear of his own teammate, nearly a second ahead of every other car on the grid, something shifted inside the paddock. Not excitement, not admiration, fear. And the man who felt it most wasn't watching from a couch. He was inside a Ferrari cockpit, watching his old team make Formula One look effortless again. So here's the question that nobody wants to answer. Has Mercedes found something that nobody else can touch? And did Ferrari just hand them the entire championship before March was even over? To understand what happened in Australia, you need to understand what was supposed to happen. The 2026 regulations were Formula One's great reset. New hybrid systems, lighter cars, a complete technical revolution designed to compress the field. No team should have arrived at the first race with a dominant advantage, but Mercedes did. Russell's qualifying lap was not just fast, it was surgically fast, consistently superior across every sector, not a purple moment on a perfect lap, a structural advantage that repeated itself, lap after lap, session after session. Rival engineers began reviewing telemetry before qualifying even finished, and then Lewis Hamilton, 7-time world champion, man who spent over a decade inside that Brackley factory from the other side of the garage wall for the first time. His reaction wasn't polite.
We had some problems with our engines.
What they've done with their engine
It was a mess for everybody.
and the amount of performance they found compared to others.
He stated that the deficit he perceived could be around 0.2 of a second or even more due to power alone. 0.2 from the engine in lap 1 of a brand new season. That's not a setup advantage. That's not tire management. That's something structural sitting underneath the hood of the W17. But that was just the start, because Hamilton didn't stop at surprise. He went further, mentioning something extremely specific, something that made every engineer in the paddock stop breathing for a moment: the compression ratio. A deeply technical area of the power unit regulations, an area where small interpretations can produce enormous performance, an area where the line between genius and controversy is razor thin. And this is where the story gets dark. When a 7-time world champion, someone who built his career inside that Mercedes engine program, publicly points at a specific technical component and questions whether the FIA has looked closely enough, that's not a frustrated driver venting after a bad race. That is a calculated message sent to the entire paddock at maximum volume.
Is there a feeling of what if right now? No, good, okay.
On the surface, Ferrari arrived in Melbourne with genuine optimism. The SF26 had pace. Hamilton was finding his rhythm. Charles Leclerc launched from 4th to 1st before Turn 1 had even finished. For 10 laps, Ferrari led the Australian Grand Prix. For 10 laps, it looked like the Scuderia had everything under control. But beneath that lead, the telemetry was already telling a different story. The Ferrari was using a significantly higher percentage of its overtake boost just to stay level with Russell on the straights. Mercedes was hitting 328 kilometers per hour with a smooth, linear torque curve. Ferrari was clipping out at 321. The car was working harder, burning more energy, draining its battery faster just to maintain track position. Ferrari wasn't controlling the race. Ferrari was surviving it. And then came the virtual safety car and the moment that changed everything. When Isaac Hodger's Red Bull stopped on lap 12, the VSC window opened. In 2026 Formula One, this moment is everything. A pit stop under virtual safety car costs roughly 40% less time than a normal green flag stop. Mercedes ran the numbers instantly. Both Russell and Antonelli came in. Fresh rubber, cheap stop. 11 seconds gained, mathematically almost for free. Ferrari stayed out, and Hamilton, from inside the cockpit, immediately understood the scale of the mistake. He told his engineer directly, "At least one of us should have boxed." He was right, completely, mathematically, undeniably right. By staying out, Ferrari still owed the race a pit stop. They were leading, but leading on borrowed time. The moment the track went green, they were exposed. Then fate twisted the knife.
On lap 18, Valtteri Bottas stopped near the pit entry. Second VSC. Ferrari's second chance. The pit lane was closed. Ferrari had bypassed the first window. Now the second window was physically shut in their faces. Mercedes, already on fresh tires, simply circled the track and watched Ferrari's race slowly collapse. When Leclerc finally pitted on lap 26, he didn't just lose the lead. He fell into no man's land, behind both Mercedes cars, with no strategic lever left to pull. Hamilton crossed the line fourth, frustrated, quiet, already calculating. The final data confirmed what the race had shown. Once Ferrari fitted fresh tires in the closing stages, they matched Russell within 0.05 of a second per lap. The SF26 is a genuinely competitive car. The pace was real. But Mercedes had harvested 12% more energy per lap through the middle sector because their fresher tires generated more grip, more kinetic recovery, more electrical power on every straight. Ferrari's strategic error didn't just cost positions, it cost the car's ability to generate power. Strategy wasn't just affecting the race result, it was affecting the physics of the Ferrari itself. For Hamilton, the frustration runs deeper than one race. He didn't come to Ferrari to teach the pit wall how to react to a virtual safety car. He came to win championships. And now, after one race, two uncomfortable truths are sitting on the table simultaneously. Mercedes may have a structural engine advantage that nobody fully understands yet. And Ferrari may still be making the same strategic mistakes that have haunted them for years. This wasn't just a lost race, it was a warning.
Scenario 1. The FIA investigates. They find nothing. Mercedes carries this advantage for the first 7 races, and the championship is effectively over before summer. Scenario 2. Ferrari fixes the pit wall. Hamilton and Leclerc begin executing races the way the car deserves. The gap closes. Melbourne becomes a painful lesson rather than a prophecy. Scenario 3. The compression ratio question grows louder. Teams push harder. The FIA issues a technical directive. And suddenly, the W17 that looked untouchable in Australia becomes something very different by Monaco. In Formula One, the fastest car at race 1 has never guaranteed the championship. But a team that combines pace and strategy from the very beginning? That's a different kind of danger entirely. Has Mercedes genuinely solved the 2026 hybrid puzzle, or are we watching the opening chapter of Formula One's next great controversy? Can Ferrari bridge the gap between Hamilton's cockpit intelligence and a pit wall still running on instinct? And if the FIA starts looking inside that Mercedes engine, what exactly are they going to find? One race is over. The real season hasn't started yet. Tell me in the comments, who do you think is really in control of the 2026 championship?